honored delegates and guests, please welcome your brother and friend, the OPCMIA General President, Daniel E. Stepano.
Yeah, that's you guys. That's OPCMIA. Thank you. Thank you. My, what a beautiful job. What a nice opening. I got to thank the vocalists and everybody that made this happen, come together here today. Thank you for being here with us today. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the OPCMIA's 52nd International Convention. This is truly an historic gathering, and I have to tell you, it's awe-inspiring. Just think about it for a minute. 52 conventions, 155 years of representing our members and their families, their wives, their husbands, their children, girlfriends, boyfriends, and the communities where they work and live. This is you, this is me, this is who we are. The OPCMIA, we make no apologies. You know, for more than a century and a half of working day in and day out to raise our wages, benefits, living standards, trade work processes, education, training, and safety, we are carrying the torch of the founders of our great international who boldly declared to the world that they stand united as one and that the workforce that America knew would have to change. You know, not just for change's sake, no way, but to change in order to preserve the ideals of life, liberty, and you know what, most of all, a pursuit of a better way of life. Even though we all march to the music of our own time, our mission, the OPCMIA's mission, is timeless. Each generation of OPCMIA members has to define what it means to them, their families, and what it means to be union, what it means to be part of this outstanding organization. And I believe we all have an opportunity to belong to something old and something new, a proud tradition and an exciting future. Today, I'd like to speak to you a little bit from my heart. As you remember, in conventions past, I spoke of my father passing away and how special every one of you made me feel. I told you that my dad was my best friend. You know, your thoughts and prayers helped ease the pain my family and I were going through. And I have to tell you, I am eternally grateful to all of you for this. And now, sadly, I've lost my mother a little less than a year ago, and pretty much it's a loss that I don't think I'll ever forget or I'll ever get over. You know, our mothers are very special in our lives. They're always caring, always loving, beyond reproach, and there's absolutely nothing like a mother's love. It's something that I truly miss. And granted, I know I have to put the pieces back together and find my way through the pain in order to be a stronger person. But you know what? I also know that many of you here today have lost loved ones that were so very close to you, that meant the world to you. They were your lives. And I want you to know my heart goes out to you. God bless you. You all elected me at the 2014 convention to serve as the Executive Vice President and General Executive Board member. You all placed your trust in me, and make no mistake about it, your trust is sacred to me. It's what motivates me to do the right thing for you and for our members and their families. I know that the trust you all have placed in me is a very fragile thing, and that I have to earn that trust every single day. And your trust is something that has my utmost respect, and it binds me both mentally and physically to upholding our Constitution with the integrity of our members and their families. So from the bottom of my heart, I am truly honored to be able to stand up here today before each and every single one of you and talk about the state of our great union. You all have allowed me to dedicate my life to work to elevate our members' standard of living, and for that, I thank you. I thank you for allowing me the honor to serve every one of our members and their families. And you know what? There is someone else I need to thank even more. Someone whom I admire for the person she is. She's put up with me for over 32 years. We've been through good times and bad times, but you know what? We've always been there for each other. She's someone I can lean on, and I know she will be there. She's my rock. Of course, I'm speaking of my wife, Jeannie. Thank you for being you. I love you. To my oldest son, EJ, and his new wife, Clarissa, and to my youngest son, Ryan, thank you. I love you. You know, you all have been so absolutely resolute in your support for me and the work I do for the OPCMIA members and their families, especially during the many weeks of travel that have kept us apart. I don't know how else to express my gratitude except to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being there for me, for your support. I'd also like to recognize my sister Kathy, sister-in-law Sandy, my brother-in-law Ron, Ross and Alicia, RC, Jess, Carl and Leslie, and of course Will. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to share in this moment with me and our members at this convention. It means a lot to me. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the OPCMIA staff at headquarters for their hard work in helping keeping this international moving forward. Linda, Peggy, Sharon, Matt, and Nick, who are out here attending to the 1,000,001 details required to pull this convention together. All I can say is thank you for everything you do for the OPCMIA. And I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't salute the late Patrick D. Finley for his near half-century of service, dedication, and sacrifice for the OPCMIA members and their families. May God bless you, Pat. I miss you. You know, I'd like to thank thousands of men and women, union members, brothers and sisters, OPCMIA proud, whose steadfastness and sacrifice enabled our two nations to triumph over tyranny and oppression. Today, a new generation of OPCMIA members assumes new responsibilities in a world brightened by the sunshine of our great international, but threatened still by the ancient hatreds and newly manufactured plagues. Raised in unrivaled prosperity, we have inherited an economy that, despite being the world's strongest, still weakened by failures of business after business, stagnant wages, skyrocketing inequality, and deep divisions amongst so many of us, not least of all our very own brothers and sisters. I want each and every single one of you here today to remember this. This is vitally important to our success, the OPCMIA's success. None of our achievements have happened on their own. None of our goals for the future are just simply destined to occur. All of this, everything we've gained so far, and everything we will gain, depends on your willingness to participate. On each and every single one of us accepting responsibilities of membership, regardless of which way the pendulum of power happens to be swinging. You know, in life itself, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I've always presumed a reservoir of goodness in other people, no doubt about that. But I'm also a realist who knows that sometimes you're going to be let down. It happens. Assume the best, prepare for the worst, I guess. But let me tell you something. Those of us fortunate enough to have been a part of this work that we all do day to day, week to week, year after year, and to see it up close, let me tell you something. It will energize you, and it's going to inspire you. And more often than not, your faith, and what we can do as members and as an organization is going to be absolute. You know, communications, collaboration are vital to what we do day in and day out. And if we want to succeed as an organization, that's what we need to do. Improve our collaboration. You know, investments are mobile, technology is nothing short of magical now, and the ambition for a better way of life is universal. We all of us, we earn our livelihood in a peaceful competition with people coming together from around the world, no doubt about it. This organization, our organization, enriches the lives of thousands of members and their families each and every day. But you know what? At a time when most people are working harder for less, when others can't work at all, when the cost of health care devastates families and threatens to bankrupt many of our contractors, both big and small, when the fear of crime robs law-abiding citizens of their freedom, when millions of poor children can't even imagine a better way of life. And this gets me. Even when greedy billionaires and the politicians they bought off are trying to wipe our union and the entire labor movement completely out of existence, we have far more work to do, and the OPCMIA's work is not yet done. No way. So here's where we're at as a union, and here's how we are arming ourselves for the many battles to come. We have a new home now in Columbia, Maryland, a base. Working at that headquarters, we've worked to reduce the databases from 5 databases to 1. Amazing what that does for you. We greatly increased our efficiency, our effectiveness, and our overall job performance just by doing that. And here's the thing, and I know you've heard me say this before at a number of different conferences. If we don't change faster than the external changes pressuring who we are, you know what happens? We lose. Here's the thing. What we lose is the battle to give our members, their wives, their husbands, and their children a better way of life. That's what's at stake here. It's a battle for quality of life that we simply cannot afford to lose. It's a battle that I'm not going to lose because we have too many counting on us to keep our union moving forward and continuing to be progressive. Sisters and brothers, losing this battle is not an option. It's the only reason we're here. The only reason we are here today and this week and doing the work we do day in and day out, it's for our members and their families. That's it. There's no other reason. And it is. And that's why we cannot ever afford to accept the status quo or even tread water. Can't do it. We got to move forward. We want this organization to move forward and lift the lives of our brothers and sisters and their families. That's what we have to do. And I'll tell you, it's my promise to you and a promise of every officer and representative of the OPCMIA right here, right now, at this 52nd convention, to you, that no matter what happens in the future, we will secure our organization's future and we will continue moving the OPCMIA forward. This is you, this is me, this is who we are, the OPCMIA. You know, Abraham Lincoln said it best. And what he said was, The best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's what we will do as the OPCMIA. We will create our own future. I need you all to remember this and take it with you. Take it back to the locals. Right now more than ever, we need to face the hard truths and take the difficult steps. We have to cast our differences aside, no matter what they are, in order to keep working together with each other, to collaborate and communicate effectively with each other. If we want to make a difference, and if we want to lift the lives of others to see a brighter future. Can you do that? Can you all do that? Yes. Good, because we can, and I know you can. I know you can do it. And right there, that's what you get applause, because I know you can do it. You can do it. I know it. But there's something we cannot do. We cannot ever allow our confidence to be shaken or fractured. You know, yesterday's workers, like those of today, have always been and always will be restless and hopeful people. I think what we have to do is bring to our task today and this week the vision and the will of all those that came before us. But you know what? This is our time. Our time, brothers and sisters, right now. Our financial status has never been better. Our membership levels are back on the rise, and we need both of those to keep heading up. And we need to take the necessary steps this week to make that happen. In fact, we have to do what no other generation of OPCMIA members and officers has had to do before. We must invest more in our own members, in their jobs, in their future, in their families, through education and training. And we must do so in a world in which we have to compete for every single opportunity available to us. And that's for our members' sake and the sake of their families. Again, that's why we're here today. The only reason for our members and their families. And you know what? That's why we always continue to work on the international budget by being progressive and farsighted in what we do and what we need to do in order to move our union forward. That's why we've been working on improving our collaboration, our oversight in all of our departments. You know, our political department is aggressively moving our agenda forward by drafting trade-specific language in order to secure and provide more work opportunities for our members. That's why we also established a organizing grant program, set up the Patrick D. Finley Golf Scholarship Fund so we can offer scholarships to our members' children. That's why we also added another bucket to our budget, something that we have never done in the past, investing $1 million each and every year in marketing our members, our crafts, our materials, our contractors, so we can expand our market share. How about that? You know, if I look at it, you know, we're a business. If we as a business, if we don't go out and sell, promote, market who we are, who's going to do it for us? You know, you watch television, and regular television, not the cable stuff, and you see news, a sports game, a sitcom. Usually every 5 or 10 minutes, a commercial comes on, right? Why? Why are these companies spending money like this? It costs a lot to put a commercial on television. Because they're selling, they're promoting, and they're marketing their products, their business, and who they are. We have to think the same way. Because you know what? We have a product. And it's an outstanding world-class product. And we absolutely need to market it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I wholeheartedly believe that we need to stay progressive and that we can never stop marketing who we are and what we do as the OPCMIA. You know why? Because we never again want to hear someone say, Oh, hell, I didn't even know you guys were still around. I've heard it. I know you've heard it. Sisters and brothers, we must spread the message far and wide that we're not just still around. We are on the cutting edge of our industry with the best craftspeople in the world, working with the strongest, most durable, most adaptable, and most creative materials in the world. That is who we are. That is you. That is me. That's the OPCMIA. And we have to embrace this technological revolution, and I think we have to embrace it in all of our trade work processes, in all of our training, and in the way we do business in today's marketplace. And I think we have to remember that I think this is real important, because we always add this in when we hear something where we're trying to be progressive or somebody else is trying to be progressive, that the cost of training, it's not measured in dollars and cents. It isn't. It just isn't. It's measured in the success or failure of our members and ultimately the OPCMIA. That's why we now have a fully staffed international training fund with plaster coordinator Tim Nelson, cement mason coordinator Tony Longbrake, cement mason instructor Nick Dermonte, plaster instructor Anthony Kirstens, administrative assistant Kaylee Jackson, and a state-of-the-art training classroom, all ably run by International Training Fund Executive Director and International Representative, my assistant, Devin Johnson, in order for the OPCMIA to succeed. We need the International Training Fund to stay on the cutting edge of new technologies in computerization, software developments. We have to realize the value and pretty much what we can gain in the area of artificial intelligence, virtual and augmented realities. It's here. It's today. It's the future. To recognize and stay on top of any new advances in equipment, machinery, materials, and any changes in our OPCMIA work trade processes. Now listen, taking our training to these new levels, it's not going to be easy. I know that. It's going to require sacrifice, right? But let me tell you something, what I know. I know that none of us here chose our crafts because they're easy. We did so because they require sacrifice. And there's nothing we like better than a challenge to be overcome, a problem to be solved, and a fight to be won. That's why I know it can be done, and it can be done fairly. By not just choosing sacrifice for its own sake, but for our own sake. Listen, I can't say this enough. All of us are our brothers and sisters' keepers. And you know what? As it must be, our International Training Fund is front and center in all of these efforts. We have embraced new technologies. We have welcomed them because either we stay one step ahead of change, or change is going to be forced upon us, and it's our job, all of us here, to make change our friend, not our enemy. In fact, brothers and sisters, the future's here. The future's now. Here's what the future looks like. Thank you. Ready? Oh, this is cool. This is just like being on a rider. Oh. Well, hey man, you know I'm not a concrete finisher here. You know that. Anyhow, this is great. Did you hear that? You see that? That was pretty cool. Now, I'm not a finisher. I did the best I could. So I hit a couple cones. Come on. Hold on, though. Now we're getting into my world. Oh, yeah. There's a familiar friend right here. Oh, look at that. Oh. You know what's great about this? There's no overspray. None. Oh, I'm sorry. Check that out. No overspray. I don't even have to worry about environmental conditions being too cold, too hot, too wet. Sweet. That was really cool. Thank you. You know what? That's where we're headed. Right there. Use of virtual reality. Virtual reality provides so many training advantages. We can have an instructor in Columbia, Maryland, doesn't matter, it could be anywhere, and that instructor can teach a confined space class to students in Portland, Oregon, San Diego, Chicago, Illinois, live in real time. The instructor doesn't have to go there. Running a rider, spraying fireproofing, and you know what? Even more importantly, developing this process, this technology, in all the OPCMIA work trade processes. How convenient is that? How great is that? I was on that, I was on that rider, moving around. I'll tell you what, the seat rumbles, shakes. I could tell you for a fact that I was on that first, and I went up to Chicago, and they put me on an actual rider, and that I could move that around, and I didn't do bad, right, guys? We're in Chicago, right? Right? I thought so. But it was pretty cool. That is great. You know, and listen, if you want to give the future a try, the virtual reality will be set up in the OPCMIA booth just outside the convention hall, and I urge you to try it out. It is really cool. And you know what? Now, just in case anyone's wondering why would we want to go this route, well, consider this. Constantly we hear talk of how this new generation, Generation Z, Gen Zs, is only interested in video games. They're constantly focused on their smartphones and tablets. But you know what? They're constantly picking up on the newest breakthroughs without a second thought. So for me, it's really quite simple. If we want to be able to attract this new generation, these Gen Zs in our recruiting process, and if we remember what we have to do, and we embrace our responsibilities to supply the skilled plasters, cement masons, and shop hands of the 21st century. And if we want to control the workforce, this is the way to go. It's the only way to go. You know, the founders of our great organizations saw themselves in a light of posterity. And I believe that we owe it to them to do no less. Anyone who's ever watched a small child's eyes fade into sleep knows posterity. And make no mistake about it, posterity is the world to come. The world for whom we hold our ideals above all else, for whom we've borrowed our planet, and to whom we bear a sacred responsibility. We must do what the OPCMIA does best, offer more opportunity to all and demand responsibility from all. Let's all take a little more responsibility. Not for ourselves, not just for our families or our union, but for our communities, our country, and our entire future. We are rebuilding and reshaping our future. And I want to tell you this. We will not shrink from any challenges, nor fail to seize any opportunities for the OPCMIA's future. Together, brothers and sisters, we will work to shape change for the betterment of our members, least of all it engulfs us. When our vital interests are challenged, or the will and conscience of our organization is defied, we will act. Certainly with diplomacy whenever possible, but I'm going to tell you this. With all the fire and fury we possess when necessary, our brothers and sisters are a testament to our resolve. This is you, this is me, this is who we are. But you know what? Our greatest strength, I wholeheartedly believe, is the power of all of our ideas, which are still and will always be something new. Absolutely, no doubt about it. They will always be something new. Their cause is the OPCMIA's cause. Our members' lives have something to change. We're going to celebrate this week. I know you all will raise your voices in an unmistakable chorus this week. And I know for a fact that you will work to change the face of the OPCMIA itself. And you know what? I know you all will force the springboard, and we will do the work that the season demands. To that work, I now turn with all the authority in my office to you. I ask my General Executive Board to join with me. But you know what? I need you all to understand something here. That no General President, no General Executive Board, no international officers, no local union leader or official can undertake this mission alone. It won't happen. Brothers and sisters, you too must play your part in our renewal. And I'm going to challenge a new generation of young workers and young members to a season of service to act on your idealism by helping troubled youth, keeping company with those in need, reconnecting all of our torn communities. There's just so much to be done, and enough for others who, are still young in spirit to give of themselves. And you know what? I think in belonging to a union, we recognize a very simple but a very powerful truth. We need each other, and we must care for each other. Today we do more than just celebrate the OPCMIA. We rededicate ourselves to the very ideal of the OPCMIA. An idea born 155 years ago and renewed through 2 centuries of challenge, determination, and self-sacrifice. It's an idea tempered by the knowledge that, but for fate, we the fortunate and the unfortunate might have been each other. An idea ennobled by the faith that our union can summon from its myriad diversity of who we are and brought us together, the deepest measure of unionism. What it means to be union, what it means to be a member, what it means to be a brother and a sister. It's an idea infused with the conviction that the OPCMIA's long, heroic journey must forever go upward. And so, my brothers and sisters, at the edge of the 21st century, let's begin with the energy and hope, with faith and discipline, and let us all work until our work is done. The scripture says, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. From this joyful mountaintop of celebration we have here this week, we all can hear a call to service in a valley. I know we can hear the trumpets, and I know we will change the guard. And now, each in our own way, and with God's help, we must answer the call. Sisters and brothers, we are changing the shape of the OPCMIA, and make no mistake about it, the future is steaming forward. You hear that? Hear it? Listen. You hear it? It's coming. So together, let's get on board and continue our great historic journey to new, bold, and exciting destinations. Look out for Here We Come. Thank you, and God bless you all.